The institutions currently building the new financial system have already marked 2026 as the transition year. It's not a random prediction that they're making. This is a very clear line in the sand saying that everything will be compliant this year. And that deadline is baked into all the frameworks and infrastructure timelines of the organizations actually constructing this thing. It's documented in all of their internal papers. And from my own conversations with people in the know, it's absolutely fascinating that almost nobody in the retail market is actually seeing this. And while everyone is distracted by the prices going down in the crypto market, the biggest players in the space are seeing what's really happening and allocating their funds appropriately. There's a huge amount of capital going into this, and we're going to talk about this whole move today. You might have seen over time, if you've been in crypto, this narrative about ISO 20022. You might have also seen conversations about the MiCA bill, the Genius Act, all of these things. Most people look at these as interesting events, but for the wrong reason. The reason they should be interesting, the reason they're exciting, is because this is the actual system moving and updating and changing with these deadlines. And if you look at them individually, you might think they're kind of boring. But when you piece them all together, you can see exactly what's happening. You can clearly see that compliance is of top priority to the institutions at the time where they're actually putting them all into place. I've been speaking to people at these institutions and people in the know. They're coming on this channel very soon, by the way, for some interviews. But in a recent conversation I had, we just couldn't believe how the retail market weren't seeing what we were seeing. And it's a common thread. All the institutions are talking to each other at events and on the phone or in meetings, and they're equally as surprised that nobody's seeing this. The difficult part is being in the right assets to ride this wave. But at least if you can see it coming, you're always just going to be in a better position than people who don't see it coming. And that's 99% of people, unfortunately. And over my years in crypto, I've really noticed that the serious infrastructure that gets built always happens when interest is low. And that is always way before the narrative, the public narrative goes live. Of course, you want to be positioned before that goes mainstream because if you're buying when the mainstream pays attention to it, you're already too late. And it's no coincidence that I started my 10x challenge, turning £50,000 into £500,000 in a year, right at this time. I think this is a generational opportunity that we're about to see unfold. And right now, we are early. But in a few months' time, we might not be. That's why I set up a whole automation process to buy my cryptos with an automated logic and decision-making system. And I've put everything that is going on in my world right now to 10x my portfolio. The institutions currently building the new financial system have already marked 2026 as the transition year. It's not a random prediction that they're making. This is a very clear line in the sand saying that everything will be compliant this year. And that deadline is baked into all the frameworks and infrastructure timelines of the organization